You want to talk football first? Or you want to talk about something else?
Whatever you guys got.
All right. Trump was almost assassinated 2 days ago.
Politically, who you voting for?
So yeah,
right.
Are you Republican or Democrat? Did that make you happy when you saw that, or sad?
I mean, I think that's just a sad thing in general. I mean, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, I think, that's an issue in the country, obviously, is just they're so divided in any sense. And that was definitely a tough one. Are you going to play it right now?
Yeah, that was, that's a wild scene. I think there's a few different angles, right? Let's put on the tinfoil hats. Assassination attempt, inside job, or complete setup move by the Trump campaign. I think there's three layers.
There's 3 layers
out there that you can,
right.
dip
Which
your
one are
toes
you
in.
leading to?
Well, hold on. Before we do that, I think we should also both give the insurance policy being like, yes, that was wrong. No one should have done that.
There you go.
No one should have done that. It was wrong. We need to not fight that
honestly,
way.
It's just embarrassing that we're at that we've gotten to this point.
Yeah, there hasn't been an assassination attempt since Bush,
43
right?
years. Yeah,
43 years?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Reagan. Yeah.
I thought there was an assassination attempt on OG Bush, but I might be speaking out of my ass. I kind of saw that in a tweet, and I kind of took that information, kept it, and didn't look into it at all.
That's how Twitter is.
No, you're probably right. There's probably an attempt, but it just got
And there's levels of badass, and I think this is the pinnacle of badass after you're getting shot. Like, say what you want, Republi, Demi, you do whatever you want, but when it comes to Trump and getting
Republi, Demi,
getting grazed in the side of the ear, standing up and saying, "I want my shoes," and says, "Wait," and then puts the fist up as everyone's chanting USA, and then that iconic photo of him going off the stage with the flag in the background. That is badass.
It couldn't happen more perfectly. I mean, like with everything that he led up to, I mean, that was insane.
Dude, and if that's an assassination attempt, if he just doesn't move his head, he's dead.
That's the crazy part about it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like he's dead.
I know. And it is fun to jump into the conspiracies of every single situation, right? Did we really land on the moon? 9/11, lizard people, all those types of things. What's Colorado Airport about? But this is interesting because there was a video that came out. I wonder if you can find it, Sherm Daddy, but there is a video of the sniper to stage right to the left of the camera view of Trump speaking. Mm-hmm. And his scope is where his gun is pointing a certain direction. He looks up and then you hear the gunshots go up and he gets back down and pulls the trigger. Yeah, so that tells you he saw something suspicious going on. Anytime you see a guy you don't know with a gun on top of a roof and the gun is pointed towards the area you're supposed to be protecting, probably pull the trigger sooner rather than later. 100%. But it brings in the idea that
I think a little bit of an inside job.
You think it was a setup by Trump?
I think it was both a real assassination attempt because you check all the boxes, right? Like young white kid with a rifle on top of a roof. Like that seems what usually happens. That seems to be what usually happens. Then you got what you're explaining with the sniper being up there, seeing something and getting back on his gun. Like the dude, pedestrians are able to take photos of this kid. And you're saying the Secret Service or all the people that are on this job was not able to see this kid or understand what was happening. And there was another interview after the whole thing. It was this cat with like a red visor on.
Yes, with the fake hair,
He's saying
right?
someone was trying to tell the police and they didn't seem to do anything about it. I think there's a little bit.
Well, there's been videos of like people filming the guy walk up the roof or whatever and then lay down.
Right. Like calling his name too. What are you doing?
Calling the local police like, hey, there's a guy up there on the roof. Like, I don't know how that doesn't get relayed, but
we've all seen Shooter. Like, what's the Netflix series as well?
Yeah, the recent one.
Is it called Shooter?
No. There was a Netflix series. It's like the president dies, so the independent, it was the vice president. He actually takes over for the country.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't remember the
Designated.
Yeah, Designated Survivor. Yeah, good pull, JP. And dude, these teams that are on this stuff, like you don't miss something like that at all whatsoever. And the ability, like I want to say somebody talked about him in a press conference one time with somebody maybe having a gun. They had him off the stage within seconds. Mm-hmm. This one, it seemed like people weren't back. Like you had some people still standing up. I don't know. It just seems a little fishy to the board.
And there's a guy sitting behind Trump. He's like wearing a black fedora. And he's got curly hair, and when everybody starts to duck, he doesn't move at all. And then he mouths something, and people are saying he's mouthing like, now you know.
Yeah.
Or something like that, something crazy.
Yeah. Something crazy.
Something crazy.
Yeah. Those are the things that I love to like, I wonder what this means.
Yeah, that guy right there. in the top left corner of that photo.
Yeah, that's wild.
And he's like holding his phone up, and then you see people like kind of start ducking. He just goes like this. Doesn't move at all.
But then if you play the game of total setup job by the Trump campaign, like Trump, he's been in the WWE, he's been in the ring, he's beat up Vince McMahon. Like, what if he just drops to the ground and hears some shots and he just takes a blade to his ear? To me, insanely genius chess move. If you're watching it from a bird's eye view, just, you know, being like a commentator on the whole thing.
Right. Because it is, yeah, it's a horrible thing what happened, but now everyone is basically saying that there's no way this guy doesn't run away with it.
Yeah. And what was hilarious too is you sat back and this video was going around like what Joe Biden would have to do to get back in the race with Trump, and it's Vince McMahon getting in this limo and then the limo just blows up. What? Yeah. So Lucy Breakers are, you know, it's a great
great segue.
Yeah, great pouch to chew on.
Well, we didn't get your thought though. You think it's an inside job? And we're having fun here, right? There's
yes.
you're not going to get in trouble. We're just having a good time.
I'm not. Yeah, I mean,
he's in the NFL. They'll definitely be
politics. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it
I'll
goes
be
either
Neil
way.
Pretty quickly.
Yeah, no doubt. He will text you, I'm sure. No, I don't know that it was an inside job. I think it was definitely a little sketchy on how the whole thing happened, but you know, I think it is. It's kind of been a lead up, you know, over the last 12 years since Obama got out of office. You know, the last 3 elections have kind of been they talk about it as a do or die thing. And that's tough to, you know, somebody's going to take that real, you know, so, I mean, it's hard to continue the rhetoric of, oh, it's a do or die election and assume that nobody's going to do something drastic, you know, which is kind of crazy. So I think just the rhetoric in the United States and in America, like, it's an election, you know, go vote, rather than, oh, this is the end of democracy, or this is the end of, you know, civilization if one guy wins or the other. And that goes both ways. But like, it's kind of crazy the amount of, like, people are surprised now that like this happened. And it's like, it is surprising and it should be surprising, but like, there's been such a lead up to it. It's crazy.
And it's also in the weird corner of it not being surprising, because, you know, there are people that, like, you know, wish he would have got shot.
Right. Oh yeah.
Which 100%. Is crazy. There's people that wish Biden would tip over.
Yeah.
Before the election happens, right?
And to wish
I'm just saying, like, I feel like those are things that people out in the deep dark corners of the internet talk about.
I don't think they're that deep and dark, dude. I feel like a lot of people are like, damn.
Yeah, but nobody actively comes out and says shit like that.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I saw a bunch.
You know what I mean?
Videos,
it's like when something like that happens, you'll be seeing stuff pop up on like, oh man, wish he would have died or something like that.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. I think we're in a unique spot too, because the next time Trump speaks, obviously everybody's going to be tuned in. But what a spot to where it's like everybody is just denouncing all this violence and where we've gotten to and all this divisiveness, because that's where it's been. Right. I feel like the majority of the middle now are, you know, speaking up a little bit more, just because you feel like you're shunned if you talk about one or the other, because it's such a do or die. Exactly, people make it believe it's such a do or die situation. It's like this 20-year-old, he was 12 when Trump first got elected. It's like, wonder what's driving or what's cultivated his mind, unless it's like, you know, there's the kooky inside job to where he was just kind of like the kid who was going to do it, and they just took advantage of some mentally unstable cat. Right. But if it was his own doing, he was 12 when Trump first got elected. Like, what has been going on in his mind up until that point to where he thinks he has to climb a roof and try to pull a trigger on the president?
It's the vaccine.
To be to remembered that way? Welcome to Bussin With The Boys.
Yeah, dude.
Podcast for the boys, by the boys.
By the boys. I don't know, dude. The older I get, I just feel like there's all that deep, what do they call it? The deep state. JP's fucking on top of it today. He took his alpha brain.
Because he's part of QAnon.
Yeah. Dude, the deep state, all that stuff, it just seems realer and realer to me. Like, there's other people behind, the Black Rocks, the Rothschilds. Everyone's just kind of running things from the background.
Yeah. Because
how else could it get so corrupt? And now there's so much more information, so many more videos being taken, that things are just being found out faster. And it just so quickly goes by in the media cycle of 24 hours. I've really find myself, 32 years of age, kind of believing what people are saying. Kind of believing the deep state stuff.
But then you got people who are scared to even talk about it. It's like, I thought, was it Garrett Wilson?
Oh, Sauce Gardner.
Sauce Gardner. Yeah, my fault, Sauce. But Sauce is he put up a couple tweets that are like real things. He almost doesn't. He's trying to like learn about stuff and be like, you know, why does your vote have to be deemed as something that is like, yo, you hate me now because I'm siding with, let's say, Trump or let's say Biden. But he wrote up a couple of tweets of like, you got new people who are coming to the fold that are trying to potentially educate themselves, and people are like nervous to even do so or even talk about it because you get shunned immediately when you bring it up on what you might be on one side or the other. It's like such a side thing, which is a bad place to begin. It's obviously resulted in an assassination attempt.
Yeah,
it's tough.
Yeah, can you bring up, if you just go to his timeline, I think it's the most recent ones. I like following Sauce, man. I like following Sauce.
He said golf's harder than the NFL.
He did. I saw that, and I was thinking in my head, oh no, I hope the boys don't see this.
It's tough.
Keep going, keep scrolling.
Yeah, you're right. It's right at the top.
My man tweets. Is that it? Hang on. Whoa.
Hey, sure.
Okay, so bring up that initial one he did before he quote tweeted. Okay. It says, in all honesty, I never voted before and am unfamiliar with politics, but I do think it's odd to judge people based on who they vote for. Maybe it's not odd, and I just don't understand because I'm not familiar with it. Somebody fill me in. I appreciate that authenticity because I do feel like a lot of, especially with new cats coming to the fold in politics, it's like,
Right.
yo, why are people just so on edge all the time?
Yeah, like
He says, I say this because it's no such thing as as perfect people, which means there will never be a perfect president. It'll always be things that people don't like about what a president does and things they dislike. So people could support a president based on one good thing that he or she will change and disregard the not so good things. So it's not fair to judge someone based on who they vote for because that doesn't mean they have the same exact morals and values as the president. Which I thought was articulated well. Yeah, I thought that was
legit.
articulated
That was
very
really
well.
well
Yeah,
done.
yeah.
That's legit.
Shout out Sauce, man.
Shout out the boy
Great
Sauce
job.
Gardner.
Yeah, that's real. I mean, you can't hardly even have a conversation with people
Yeah.
that like, have different opinions, because then it's just like it becomes a heated match.
Mhm.
And it's like, that's not, I mean, you can have a different opinion and I can have a different opinion, but like we can still be boys,
Right.
but that's almost not a thing anymore.
I find myself just leaning into more of the humor side because you're not, if you're trying to have like real conversation, especially on the internet, like they're just not going to, you're not going to solve anything there.
No, you can't win.
No, you're not going to change anybody's mind either.
Right.
Yeah, people are too like walled off to all that. It's crazy that like when we were kids, you just like you don't talk about religion or politics at the dinner table, and I feel like that's all it's talked about now, especially when it's an election year. It's like everyone's talking about this, that, and the other.
It
algorithms.
destroys some families too. I mean, like people
Yes,
like
bro.
a
Destroys
family
bands.
reunion, like people, you can't even talk about it. It destroys bands.